Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be doing a farming video. I mainly use queen walking, queen charge, however you want to look at it, base dependent for my primary farming. I do this because it's really versatile. I can just walk around bases, I can charge in, get storages. It works really well for me. There's my army breakdown, bunch of barbarians, bunch of archers, wall breakers, healers. Some people do all archers. I really don't like that to lower the cost with the barbarians, and they tank a bit better than the archers. And I do the 8 healers. 6 go on the queen. 2 are backup. If the raid starts to go south, throw in 2 more for the ones that die. Or if everything's going good, I'll throw a king walk component on it. Excuse me, and throw those 2 extra healers onto the king, which I'll show you a couple of examples of. There's my barracks distribution. Comes out to a little bit over 30 minutes. And then that kind of almost lines up perfectly with hero regen time. And if you use 2 to 3 spells, it all just coincides really nicely and it works out. A lot of people bicker over farming. My strat's better than your strat. Bam's better than Barch. Giga of Arch is better than everything. But whatever works for you, as long as whatever you spend is less than whatever you get, and you make a profit, it's a win at the end of the day in my book. So that's all I focus on. This army is pretty cheap relatively, I think. It's only about 147k if you use everything minus spells. If you use one spell, which is what I use on average, then it's about 180k. Um, when you farm, try to focus on just one resource. So right now, I'm leveling heroes to max 40/40. So my big focus is on DE. I'll get gold, I'll get elixir along the way, and I'll put it on walls, upgrades, research, whatever. But my main focus is on DE. Unless you're hitting a collector raid, which is going to have a good distribution of everything, you want to just focus on one resource because that's how most bases are going to be. They're going to be really heavy on one, maybe two, and then they're going to be really light on the third. So I don't really like being picky for that one perfect magical base with 500,000 of everything. I just hit a base that is go after the resource that I want. It makes me money. I hit it. I move on. I hate there. I hate it. Hate it. Just sitting there, hitting the next button, waiting. I don't know. The only 2 real threats to this strategy are Infernos. Obviously, if it locks on your king or your queen, then they're gonna die due to no healing, and you have to watch out for the ADs. You don't want them shooting your healers, so you gotta be careful of pathing. We're gonna start off here with this raid right here. Most of the time, you're gonna hit Town Hall 9s, and that's okay. They don't have Infernos, so they're easier. You take a little bit of a loot bonus drop, but you're still gonna kill it. We're gonna 2x through most of these. And this guy was super sweet. He had his storages on the outside. It was like whatever, super easy, cool. So, like I said, as long as you avoid Infernos and the ADs, I tried to break in right here because the ADs eventually would be a problem. So I cleared out some further down the line, broke in, she went back. I wanted her to keep going counterclockwise, but she decided to double back and go through a wall. And that's okay. So what I really liked that I did here is kind of down at the bottom, there's this wizard tower mortar, which is going to nuke whatever, Barch troops I send down there. And the queen decided she wanted to head off to the right, so I knew she wasn't going to come back to pick up either one of those storages or what little was in those collectors. So what I did was I dropped my king to tank the wizard tower and the mortar, and then I just trailed in a bunch of archers. They're going to shoot over the wall, pick up the wizard tower, and then they're going to, just kind of walk with the king. Mortar's still on him, and they'll pick up the elixir storage eventually. I got some more barbarian troops and stuff up there just to, pick whatever collectors I could. So that's that one. Nothing too fancy, crazy. You just gotta. It's not like huge loot, but it was easy loot. I didn't have to spend any spells. I didn't even use my whole army. I used 4 healers. So if you find easy raids, take them. Don't keep nexting for that magical magical base. All right, what's up? 10, 9, 7? Yep, this one. So this one, again, it's not super up there. It was really light on DE. Looking back on it, I probably shouldn't have hit it. But what really intrigued me was the inside, was those corners, there's all those missing wall pieces. So once something gets in there, it's just going to have free reign. So I'm not going to have to use a whole lot of wall breakers, or, it's not going to be very difficult to get in there and get all the loot. It ended up being slightly more problematic than I had wanted to get wall breakers in there. It shouldn't have been that difficult, but I got there eventually. And then what I like to do is funnel off of corners to try to get the king, queen to go one direction. But sometimes your funneling doesn't quite work, and the heroes double back on you. So I like to just wait, just be patient, and whichever way they eventually end up going, usually at about the minute mark left, I reinforce the other side to try to get what I can. Now what I did here that I wanted to point out was my king I trailed super late. So you can see the queen took out pretty much half the base, and the only thing that's left is the core. Normally I would drop a jump spell right where that king is, and he'd path to the core anyway. So you don't have to necessarily get your queen to go to the core. You can just have her create a huge funnel. She'll take out 50-60% of the base by about 2:30, and then you just drop a jump spell to the core, make sure the pathing's there, drop the king, and he'll head straight to core. I got lucky in that one because the wall segment was missing, so no jump spell needed, but that's what you can do a lot of the time too. Number 6 here on CT. This one is pretty crafty. He's got 2 Infernos, but one of them is upgrading on the right-hand side there. So that is the side that I want to go to. I want to avoid that left side, so I drop her over on the right. And again, I like funneling off of corners. Take out that cannon so she doesn't go back for sure. Air defenses on the outside of the base, super easy. That's one of the key things that I look for, is picking up air defenses. And eventually a bunch of stuff locks on and she wall breaks in. And let's see, she keeps going. I tried to wall break in up here at this top compartment. I'm not sure why I did that, but it ended up not working out at all. Tried multiple times and eventually got it, but just a lot of wastedness. I ended up having to use a jump spell because it didn't connect to the compartment the queen was in anyways, so it was a whole bunch of waste. So eventually she steps up, she hits that Inferno, and she's going to step up and hit the Town Hall, and she is going to get the Inferno locked on her, negating healing. So we go ahead and we freeze that Inferno. I could have waited a little bit longer, but popped the ability kind of early because I wanted to get that Town Hall down and get out of there. But it's okay. Drop that jump spell so that she reroutes for sure and doesn't try to go for the Expo or the Inferno or something crazy like that. And then she just, picks up stuff. Keeps walking. Reinforce. Do some distracting with barbarians and archers. I think I dropped my king somewhere. Yeah, I dropped my king at the bottom here to try to get in to get to a storage. But with no more wall breakers, he just kind of died. But it's okay. I got enough that I was happy with. This one was super sweet. It was in the collectors. It was in the storages. There was loot just everywhere. And I knew with the amount of loot that was in this base, it was okay if I dropped a lot of spells because I was going to get a lot of loot. So I was okay with spending more spells. Now you can see this one Inferno is active, and it was a risk that I was willing to take because the other Inferno is dead. So I was betting that the one Inferno was really low. And eventually, turned out to be true, and I was right, which was awesome. So the air defenses are too far back, 5 tiles back, so the queen can't shoot him. So I knew I had to wall break in. Otherwise, eventually, I would have a air defense on healer problem. So I got the queen to go in. I was pretty positive she wasn't going to come back out, so I wanted to pick off those collectors before I forgot later on. She shoots the air defense, picks up that, and then she starts working back kind of clockwise, I guess you could say. I drop my king with 2 healers on him, out of range of the only air defense is right there, and the queen will pick it up. So I want the king to walk clockwise, and there's not another air defense until almost 6 o'clock in the base. So I knew he could walk for a long time very safely. So my queen, the Inferno locks on her, pop the ability to get out of jail once, rage spell so she does more DPS. Now I should have waited on the freeze spell until she got a lot lower and then froze it and then healed back up, but it's okay. So froze it, it locks back on, and runs out of juice. So my king went in, and I always trail a bunch of archers behind my king because he can't shoot over walls, obviously. So you leave a bunch of trailing archers, and they shoot the buildings to the left, to the right, air defenses behind the king, whatever. And they just do generally really awesome stuff. I dropped that jump spell there to try to get both heroes to go into the core, because I saw the king was getting low, so I wanted my queen healers to switch to the king, but unluckily that did not happen. And then you just drop in troops. The only real key is, like with your barbarian and your archer troops, is to just be patient and be slow with them. Don't drop them all at once. Just drop as many as needed. 4 or 5 barbarians, 4 or 5 archers. Pick off a building, if you're trying to pick off a couple buildings, drop a couple more. But don't just spam them all down at once. Boom, bounces back between buildings, finishes up, nearly got all of the loot in that base. So I used all of my spells, but I got 700,000 elixirs, so I considered that was worth. Let's see what's next. This one was pretty sweet. You got to be really, really patient with the direction the queen is going to go. After a while, you can kind of get pretty predictable. As you can see, I dropped my barbarians and my archers over there on the right. I wanted the queen to go left, so that way she would hit the air defenses every time and the healers wouldn't get shot at. And I figured she'd work her way into this little cubby hole right here, which she does, and then take off and go clockwise and keep walking and pick up the air defenses. But she decides that is not what she wants to do. So she works her way in there a little bit more, and then she decides that Archer Tower is closest, and she heads the wrong way. So I drop a couple barbarians to finish up the loot that she didn't get. Healers are getting shot at, so I send in one more healer to back her up for the healer that was lost. And the funnel that I'm creating over here kind of on the left now is away from that Archer Tower, because I want to have my king walk along this top side, so I don't want to have him near the Archer Tower or the air defense, because I'm going to put healers on. So the queen keeps walking. I know that she's going to be pretty safe, and eventually I want to go for that DE storage right in the middle of the base. So I want her to keep walking, and then I'll just break her in at some point. Rage spell goes down, keep her up and healthy. Right about now my king should come down. Where is he? There he is. Usually right around the 1 minute mark is always when I drop my king, because my queen has settled on a particular direction, and pathing then is very predictable. Sometimes if you drop your king a whole lot earlier, then they both end up walking together in the same direction if the queen doubles back or whatnot. So my king keeps walking. I was trying to get to those storages on the backside, but I didn't have enough barbarians and archers to create that good of a funnel. He keeps going. He picks up everything I wanted though, so that was good. Wall broke in to get the queen to that DE storage. She gets it, picks up the gold storage, goes for the town hall. I could have raged her right here, but I didn't think that there was quite enough loot in the storage to make a rage worthwhile, so, or I might not even have one, I'm not sure, but I didn't do that. And our last raid that we're going to show, as I said, you want to pick on Town Hall 9s or Town Hall 10s without Infernos. It's actually more common than I thought. I initially thought when I went to Town Hall 10, I'm never going to hit another Town Hall 10 again because of Infernos, woe is me. But there are a lot of Town Hall 10s who have not dropped Infernos. So hit those bases, probably above all else, as you're not going to suffer the loot penalty bonus as you'd hit with the Town Hall 9. And this guy, I don't know why he didn't drop Infernos. He's got 33 Queen. Working on walls. I don't know if he's trying to manipulate his war weight or something like that. He's got his 240 camp space. But I recommend dropping Infernos. But this was kind of weird. I wanted to get into this compartment to go to the DE storage, but a wall broke in and they went to an empty compartment, which was exceptionally weird. So, you just got to kind of go with it. Did some more wall breakers to get all the way in while the rage spell was still there. A bunch of Valkyries came out, which were pretty scary. Ended up having to use the ability on them, but it's okay. And then I realized eventually that this air defense, kind of at 3 o'clock, would lock onto my healers. So I had to come up with a plan for that because the Queen cannot shoot it. It's out of range. So I drop a bunch of Barbarians as distraction, drop 4 wall breakers to get in, and here comes my King with the healers on him. Now I know that the air defense is right there, but it's shooting at the healers on the Queen, so I knew that the one on the King would be safe. Like I said before, you just drop in a bunch of archers right behind the King, and they'll just pick up whatever the King leaves behind on the opposite side of the wall. He does a really good job now, just walking down this whole compartment. He pretty much, I just leave him alone, and he just does stuff. And then over here at the top, you can see that archer tower is locked on to the Queen. So I trail in a bunch of archers behind to pick up that, to lessen the damage on my Queen. There goes the King, rage him up. He takes out the air defenses, moves into the next compartment. Drop a jump spell for my Queen to get those last 2 elixir storages. And it's good times. So the keys to this, to wrap it up, is try to avoid Infernos unless they're upgrading. Then go ahead and stick to one side, or if they're both upgrading, then even better. Watch out for air defenses. If they're behind a layer of walls, then you're either gonna have to break in or alter your pathing. And whatever the cost of your army, no matter what it is, as long as you loot more than it costs, you win. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know how you farm in the comments below. If you like this, didn't like this, you want to see some more farming videos, what you guys like. Thanks for watching.